Hello friends. So in this video we will see some important concept of DBMS and some MCQs from DBMS. So what I feel is some people was requesting to cover SQL part, whether some people were having some problems while covering normalization and functional dependencies part. So I have come up with more questions here so that we can discuss more about those topics where people are confused or people have some issues. So let's start with SQL first. So from non-IT background people who have not studied database management system and still they have not studied somewhere, or from IT background also who have not any exposure of database management system, they are having some issue in SQL. So let's start with the question first, then we will see what is the explanation. This is a mixed kind of session where we will have explanation also and questions also. So let's see this question quickly. First is defining a table, adding new rows or deleting new rows from table comes under. So this comes under DDL. What is DDL? Data definition language. Next is to update tuple or records in relation comes under. Update comes under DML. What is DML? Data manipulation language. Third is deleting a record from table comes under. We know it's DML. And fourth question is deleting entire table schema along with data comes under. This is DDL. So what is this DDL DML? See, DDL deals with database schema, structure and description, like how the table structure is defined, how many columns are there, what are the primary keys, or if we want to delete the entire table, which that comes under DDL. What is DML? DML, it is written data manipulation, where we can manipulate data, means update data, change data, delete data. Those comes under DML. So there are four types of command in SQL: DDL, DML, DCL, and TCL. So in DDL we have create matlab to create table. Alter means to change the structure of table, like we have to add some column or delete some column. We use alter. Truncate means whatever tables and data is there, we need to delete the data from all the table, but table structure will be there. That is the task of truncate. Drop means to delete the entire structure of table, like to delete all the data as well as the structure of table. Disk is describe. Disk command, what it is does, it is describe the table structure about the table. Rename is to rename the table. What comes inside DML? DML is having insert. Insert means to insert the data. Update means to update the row. Suppose there is a student table. So class is written. So after 1 year, they will be promoted to other class. So class will be updated now with +1 value. That is update. Delete means to delete the data. There is a school database. Now few people have left the school. So those records will be deleted now. So there comes delete. And select, whatever we want to know the data is comes under select. What is DCL and what is TCL? DCL is data control language. What does this mean? This means who can control the data, who has the authority to control the data. Controlling data means to see the data or to update the data or to add the data. So they will having some access, some authority. So this authority is provided with DCL command. So they have grant means to provide authority and revoke means to remove authority. And what is TCL? So whatever this I am telling you, the data control and the insert, update, so these are known as transaction in language of DBMS. So suppose there are very big transactions going on. So there we use commit or rollback. Commit means changing it permanently. A rollback means suppose some issue happened or the transaction is not correct or the query is not correct, it will roll back to the previous point. What is save point? Suppose we have 100 transactions running in parallel. So my transaction has started and after 70 transaction power got off or something has happened. So it should not again start with transaction 1. So we used to save, like suppose I am issuing a save point from after 10 transactions. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and at 56 the power got off. So now it will roll back till 50th transaction, and again it will restart from 51. So this comes under TCL. Okay, so let's quickly see the syntax for these transactions. So create. What is the transaction? What is the syntax for create? Create table, then table name, and whatever the columns name will be there, we will give the columns name, data type of the column, and constraints like there will be ID, which will be integer type. It should be not null. Name varchar, it will also be not null. Age integer, not null. Address character type, it can be null. And at last we have to define primary key in bracket. So what will the primary key for table? ID. ID will the primary key. So this was the syntax of create. I have used example of student table everywhere in this PDF, and we will use in this video also. So desk what will do, it will describe it about table. So when we will shoot desk students command, it will tell us, okay, these are the field: ID, name, age, address, this is the type, whether it is null or not, primary key, and all those things. Drop, what is the command for drop? Drop table name. What it will do, it will read all the data as well as table structure also. Truncate, what truncate does? Delete all the rows from table, but the table structure will not be deleted. So the command is truncate table name. So truncate table students. Alter, what alter does? To add some new rows or to delete some, to add some new column or to delete some columns from the table, we use alter command. So see what it is doing, alter table, then table name, and after that we have to write whether add or delete. Then we are adding one more column in the table, that is student email column, email, and we have given varchar 100. Rename, so rename is used to rename the table name. Now we want to name students table to students underscore detail table. So rename old table name to new table name. I hope this much part is clear. So let's see the command for DML statements. So what is the syntax for insert? Insert into, then students the table name, then whatever the columns are present in the table, roll number, name, age, address, that we will write in bracket, and then whatever values we want to insert, those values we have to give in. Values Abhiram 22 Allahabad. Similarly insert again. This is one record inserted, this is second record inserted. So we have inserted two records in the table. Okay, this is how insert command works. What is the syntax for update? So update, then table name, and whatever the column we want to update, we have to write set. This is the column name, username is equal to ever, where ID is equal to 3. This is the where class we have to give in, like at which place we want this update command to happen. How delete works? Delete from table name, where the condition we have to give. Delete from student, where student ID is equal to 3. And next is select. Select is very important. There can be many kind of select statement. So I have listed here few select. Suppose we want to select few columns or few selected columns from the table. Let's say we have to select student ID and name from table. So what is the command? Select student ID, comma, name from table name, from student. Now we have to select only that student whose ID is 3. So select student ID, comma, name from student, where student ID is equal to 3. Now we don't want selective columns, we want all the columns from the table. So what we have to use? We have to use star. So select a star from student, it will show me all the columns from student. Next is selective. Select a star from student, where student ID is equal to 3. So only that student whose ID is equal to 3 we are going to select here. Now we want only top 10 rows from the table. So select top 10 from student. Now let's see what is order by and what is group by. What is order by? Order by, whenever we want to sort the result in ascending or descending order, we use order by. So for ascending we have to use order by, then whatever the column name on which we have to apply sort, and then ASC for ascending and DESC for descending. So this will publish the result in ascending order and this will publish the result in ascending order. So select star from student, order by student ID ascending or ASC, and next is select star from student, order by student ID descending. What is group by? Whenever we want to group the record based on a particular column, so at that place we use group by. So what is the syntax? Select star from table name, group by age. So it will group all the ages at one place. So in group by also, if you have to give some other filter criteria, we have to use having. So select star from students, group by age, having age is greater than 10. So all the students whose age is greater than 10 only will be selected here. So how we can give everything at one place? What is the order? So we have to first give group by, then having, then order by. So select star from students, group by age, having age is greater than 10, order by student ID. So here you can see in order by we are not giving anything like ascending or descending. So by default it will be ascending order itself. Okay. Now let's say our table has multiple records also. Multiple cannot be in primary key, but in other fields, in other columns, there can be repeated rows or duplicate rows. So whenever, for example, city, in student tables, city can have repeated rows or duplicate rows. So whenever we want to select unique record, we have to write select distinct or select unique city from students. Unique is used very less, distinct is more used. This will not be supported in many RDBMS. Now if we want to know the count of particular columns or particular columns, so there we use select count star from students. So select star from students will return all the rows, and select count star from students will return the count of all the rows. Now as command. So whenever we want to project some column by some other name, this we use as. Select student ID as roll number. So we will be selecting student ID, and in the result we will show it as a roll number from students where the name is equal to FA. Now between and in. What between will do? Or between will select whatever the students IDs are lies between this range 1 and 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 will be selected here. Now see, if we don't want to give between, we have to give in. Suppose we need only odd number of student ID. There we have to give in. So syntax will be same. Select a star from students where student ID in 1, 3, 5, 8. So I hope this much is clear. Now we will see the type of question which comes in exam from SQL itself. So the question is, which of the following are built-in functions provided by SQL? So what are the built-in functions? Suppose we have seen select a star and select count also. So same way we have sum, average, max, mean. These functions are being provided by SQL. So the option is count, sum, average, max, mean. Next is a case SQL statement is which of the following? What is case SQL statement? So we have seen normal select query. So in select query we can use if, else, case, anything we can use in select query itself. So it is asking about case. Let's see what are the options they have given. First is a way to establish a data definition in SQL or establish a loop in SQL. No. A way to establish an if then else in SQL. Yeah. Whatever we do with case, the same we can do with if else also. Next is, which of the following is used to create and delete views and relations within tables? We have seen this. We know what is this. This is DDL. So what is the option? Option D, SQL data definition language. Next is, which of the following clause is an additional filter that is applied to the result? So we know what is that, where we have applied additional filter in having clause. The answer is A, having. Next is, if you want to delete the customer Ria from the customers table, which of the following is correct? So we have discussed this, the command for delete. So delete, what was the syntax? Delete from table name where the condition is given. So delete from customers. Yeah, this one is correct. Delete from customers where customer name is equal to Ria. Delete in is not correct. Delete Ria is not correct. Drop is not correct. Drop is also not correct. So option B is correct option. Next is, how can you return all the records from a table named customer sorted descending by first name? Okay, so we have to select all the records from customer and order by first name in descending order. So what will the query? Select star from customer, order by first name, descending. So the correct answer is this. Option A. Which of the following is correct order of clause for an SQL query? So we have seen, first it will come group by, then having, then order by, and at last where will come. Sorry. First it will where, then group by, then having, then order. We have somewhere where group by having order. Yeah, where group by having order by. This is correct. Next is, which SQL operator allows you to specify multiple values in where clause? We have seen that. The correct answer is in. Which SQL command used to avoid the execution of duplicate rows? This also we have seen. Select distinct. Distinct is the correct answer. Next is, consider the following schema. Student schema is there. The columns are student code, first name, last name, email, phone number, date of birth, honor subject, and percentage of marks. Which of the following query will correctly list the average percentage of marks? So we have to determine average. Average function we have to use in each honor subject when the average is more than 50%. Okay, so select honor subject and we have to use avg function, avg percentage of marks from students, and what it is telling, when the average is more than 50%. So where average is greater than 50%. Group by honor subject. So what is the correct answer? This one is the correct answer. Do we need to group by also here? Which of the following query will correctly list the average percent of marks in each honor subject when the average is more than 50%? Yeah, this only. Whenever it will ask that we have to group it with honors subject, then at that place we have to use this query. Select honors average from students. Now we have to group by and having. But here they are not asking for the group by. Next is, dash is a virtual table that draws its data from the result of an SQL select statement. View is a virtual table. Next is, which of the following is an example for embedded SQL statement? The answer is fetch. And the last question is, dash are used to temporarily rename a table or heading of a column. That we know, this is aliases. We use the as. Select student ID as roll number. This is what they're asking. Okay, now let's see some question on normalization and functional dependency. So this type of questions comes in exam where they have asked number of candidates key or all the candidates key. So let's see how to solve this type of question. So they have given a relation having 5 attributes A, B, C, D, E, and some dependencies are there. And we have to find the number of candidate keys. So we have to determine what are the candidates keys are there. And if we will determine all the candidates keys, then we know how many numbers of candidate keys are there. So what we have to do first, whatever the functional dependencies has been given, you have to look into the right hand side. So CD is present, E is present, and A is present. So A, C, D, E is present, but B is not present. So B will be necessarily present in candidate key. Okay, so let's see if alone can derive anything. We can see AB can derive CD, A, B, C can derive E, and C can derive A. But B alone cannot derive anything. So we have to add something more in B. Let's say we will add A here. A, B. So what when we were saying that if B can derive anything, we are telling that as a closure. So let's see what is the AB's closure. Let's see if AB can derive anything. Yeah. So AB can derive, whatever can derive, it can derive A, B at least, means A can derive itself, B can derive itself, and A, B together can derive CD, C, D, and A, B, C can derive E also, E. So AB can derive all the 5. So AB is the one candidate key. What next? We have to see whether A or B is present in right hand side of anything. So we can see here B is not present but A is present. So we can replace A with C and B we will put as it is. CB, another candidate key is CB. Clear? Now we have to again say whether C is present in right hand side of anything. No, it is not present. So there are 2 candidates key, AB and CB. So answer will be 2. I hope this is clear. What is next question? Next question is asking, a second normal form does not permit dash dependency between a non-prime attribute and the relation key. So answer is partial dependency. Second normal form deals with partial dependency. Third normal form deals with transitive dependency. I have given this for you. Second deals with partial, third with transitive, fourth with multivalued, and fifth with joint dependency. Now one more question is there for functional dependencies. What they are asking, consider the following relation R, which of the following is a candidate key. Here also we have to determine candidate key. So again we will approach the same method. In right hand side what is present? B, C, D. Only B, C, D is present. So A and E is not present. So A and E will definitely be in the candidate key. Now we have to see if A and E can determine anything. So E can determine A and E itself first. Then we have to see A can determine BC. So B and C can also determine, and BC can determine D. BC can determine D also. So all the 5s can be determined by AE. So A is the one of the candidate keys. Now we have to see whether A and D is present in right hand side of these expressions. No, B, D, B, C only. So there is only one candidate key, which is AE, and we know candidate key is the minimal. If they will ask for super key, then we have to find all the keys like AE. After that we have to add AE, B can determine or not, AE, C can determine or not. So all the sets will be super key. But here they are asking for candidate key only. So minimal we have to see. One more question is there. In a schema with attribute A, B, C, D and E, following set of dependencies they have given. Now we have to see which of the following is not implied. Okay. So it is telling whether CD can determine AC. Let's see. CD can determine E, and firstly we have to see CD can determine what? CD can determine C at least and D at least. Okay, and from here we can see CD can determine E and E determine A. So we can see A also can be determined. So A and C can be determined with CD. So this is correct. Let's check second option. BD can determine CD. Let's see. What BD can determine? BD can determine B, D first. Then what anything B can determine? B can determine D itself. And nothing else. D cannot determine anything. So this is not determined. So this is also correct. I mean this is the correct answer, but we will check these two also whether these are correct or not. BC can determine CD. So what BC can determine? BC can determine B, C first. And what? B can determine D also. So D also. So we can see BC can determine CD also. Next is AC determine BC. Let's see. AC can determine first AC. And we'll see whether B can be determined with anything. A can determine B also. So AC can determine BC also. So these 3 are implied, but this is not implied. So correct answer will be B. Next question is, okay, so another question is again for functional dependencies. So again relation is given with 5 attributes A, B, C, D, E, H, and the dependencies are given. We have to determine the candidate key. So let's see what are not present in right hand side. So A is present, C is present, D is present, B is present. So EH is not present. So EH will definitely will be the part of candidate key. So we'll see. Let's see if EH can determine anything alone. So EH can determine E, H, and what? E can determine C. So C also can be determined. And whether C or E or H can determine anything? No. So only ESC can be determined. So this is not a candidate. Now we have to add another thing. Let's start with A. Let's see what AH can determine. So AH can determine A, E, H, and what? A can determine B also. So B also. And E can determine C also. So C also. And BC together can determine D also. So BC can determine D also. So A, B, C, D, H, all things can be determined. So one is AH. Let's see if A or E or H is present in right hand side of any of the dependencies. So A is present here. So we can replace A with D. So another is DEH. Let's see whether D is present in right hand side of any of this. Yeah. So D is present here. So D can be replaced with B, C, E, H. But we can see here with this E is determining C. So C can be replaced with E. So this CE will become E only. Other is BEH. So there are three. Now B is present in right hand side of A1. That is A. We already have seen AEH. So AH, BEH, DEH. 3 will be there. So this is correct answer. I hope this is clear. Now let's quickly see few questions in ERD. So in ER diagram, the total participation by entities is represented as. So total participation is presented by double line. What is total participation? Who gives total participation? So all the weak entities gives total participation. What are weak entities? Those do not have any key, any primary key. Okay, so how weak entities are present? So we know entities are present with rectangular. Weak entities are present with double rectangle, and total participation with double line. How generalization is represented with? Generalization is represented with triangle. So now we should know, like entity is presented with rectangle, attributes are presented with ellipse. So in attributes itself, if we have some multi-valued attributes, so let's say telephone number, it is represented by double ellipse, and derived attributes dashed ellipse, and total participation is represented by double line. And how the relationship is represented? It is represented in diamond shape. Okay, so the last question is the entity relationship set is represented in ER diagram as. So we know relationship is represented with diamond. So answer is diamond. So that's all for today's session. So in this session we have seen normalization, functional dependencies, and SQL. Now the remaining part is join and few other DBMS questions and answer, which we have discussed in previous videos also. So that's all for this. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.